More than once a year, when the monsoon would come, this river would flood. I mean, and I saw it every year. I mean, literally, big trees were going down the river, and whatever was in its path got taken out. I remember riding in Tempe. There's the old Tempe Mill Avenue Bridge. That thing is nothing destroys, and they had built a brand new bridge right to the side of it, and it took it out. And at one time, when I was a young man, there was only one way to get across the Salt River when it was flooding, and that was the Mill Avenue Bridge in Tempe. Nothing else. No other way to get from Mesa to Phoenix.
You know why that was? That was still there? I know it bridge built on bedrock.
For those of you who don't know much about this Salt River, it literally starts in eastern Arizona on the Fort Apache Indian Reservation. There it's called the Black River, and it goes for a few miles, and the White River runs into the Black River, and it's still at that point called the Black River. It runs a few more miles, and then at that point becomes the Salt River. It runs a few more miles. In fact, that Black River and that early part of the Salt River, fabulous if you like fishing, stunning fishing. I mean, easy 100 bass in a day, just without any problem. Becomes the Salt River, and the Carrizo Creek runs into it. Then it runs a few more miles, and then if those of you who have ever driven from the east end of Globe on Highway 60 going north to Show Low, after 50 miles you go down into this canyon and then come out the other side. That's the Salt River Canyon. That's the Salt River. The river continues on as the Salt River, and it goes through Roosevelt Lake, Apache Lake, a series of lakes, Canyon Lake, Saguaro Lake, and now we're getting fairly close to where we are. Yeah, Canyon Lake is riding Apache Junction. You go north on the Apache Trail, and you'll get to Apache Lake, or Canyon Lake. As it continues east from Saguaro Lake, it comes out of Stewart Mountain Dam. It goes into a river, the Salt River. After a few miles, the Verde River, coming from the north, joins the Salt River. It's funny. I go tubing, floating in an inner tube, and you get right where the Verde River. You're right where the Verde River and the Salt River combine. One hand is warm, the other one is cold, because you get just that little spot. I used to love going through that area because there are always rapids, and it was a good time. Well, after a few more miles, the Salt River then goes into what's known as the Granite Reef Reservoir, just a small, basically like the end of the river, and it goes into a canal system, more than one canal, and those canals go into Phoenix, Mesa, Tempe, all over the place. The river channel itself also does continue, but for most of the year it is dry. There is underground water running there, but you don't see that. The Granite Reef Reservoir is probably, well, as you go on Power Road and go north as far as you can go, then it curves, kind of goes down a hill and then makes a curve to the right. And if you look over there, you'll see Granite Reef Reservoir. Then the Salt River, mostly dry, continues on, and it's just a mile north of us where we'll be. This whole area along through here for hundreds of years was inhabited by Native Americans. They're clear even into Phoenix. There are, and even in Mesa near where I used to live, there's old Indian dwellings that people know about, and some are fenced up and you can't get to them, and others, if you know where they are, you can find them. West of Phoenix, the Gila River, which is coming from down south of Chandler, finally they come and they join, and at that point it changes names to the Gila River going forward. And it goes on and goes through a Painted Rock Reservoir, and then goes further down, or going more west towards California. Right near California, the Colorado River, or the Gila River, then joins the Colorado River, and it becomes the Colorado River, which goes south and flows into the ocean in the Gulf of California. So all the way from eastern Arizona clear to the ocean, you just had a tour of the Salt River. But this river has been a very interesting river over the years, and a lot of history. When in the 1970s, I used to work for the telephone company here in Mesa, and I was doing a telephone installation for just literally a mile right over here. One of these homes, those homes over there on on the Salt River Pima Maricopa Indian community. And I remember installing a telephone for a family, and there was an elderly Indian woman sitting in that family, and she said that when she was a little girl, she remembers this river running wide and deep, and there were big trees on both sides, literally right here. So you can just imagine, it certainly does not look like that today. The trees are gone. If any of you have been on the river upstream from the Granite Reef Reservoir, that's probably more idea what it used to look like. Big trees, there's eagles sitting in those trees. I've canoed down the river many a time, and it's like a big aquarium. So when the water's clear, you can look down and see big old fish underneath you. It's quite something. But today we're going to be looking for, I just call them river rocks. There's a lot of quartz. There's red jasper. There are green rocks. There's what I call painted rocks. This happens to be yellow and red jasper. There's polka dot rocks and there's striped rocks, and what they really are, I have no clue. But there's literally just all kinds of rocks in the river. Now, when you find them, they certainly don't look like this, polished. If you want to know what a river rock's going to look like when polished, get it wet. For example, all right, this is a polka dot rock that's dry and natural. Wet, that's what it would look like, or polished. It's like looking out in the stars at night. Here's a big conglomerate. There's a lot of this in the river. But it takes, when you're looking at literally billions of rocks and you're trying to find the needle in that haystack, at first it is difficult. I'll be honest with you. It's not easy finding the one rock that, number one, will turn out to be something worth tumbling or worth polishing.
So is most of rock that size, or they have bigger ones? Or
Oh yeah, there's big ones.
so they're not like all big. There's intermixed.
Yeah. We did a few months ago. We had a field trip on the Verde River, which again joins the Salt River, and we didn't seem to find many keepers in the Verde. So I think the good stuff is in the Salt River. How many of these rocks came from far east Arizona and over hundreds of years, just little by little, made their way down to where we are? It'd be interesting to know the history of that rock. Where did you start? Where did you come from? But we're gonna have an interesting day today, based on the number of people. We're gonna go right down. We're gonna go north on Gilbert Road, about a mile, and then I'm going to pull off the road. There's just paralleling Gilbert Road. There's a little dirt road that'll lead us right down to the river. But as we start parking, of course, the last person is going to have a little further to walk. So if any of you don't mind, jump in with somebody else, and you may not have to walk so far, carry your bucket so far. But just a word of caution. I'm hoping that we don't get arrested today, because literally we are in a little island in the river between the Salt River Reservation, Indian Reservation, and the city of Mesa. Now, city of Mesa doesn't really care that we're here, so they're not going to arrest us. But the south half of the river, going through the river, is county land. and they know we're going to be here today, and they've approved us being here. We're actually going to park on Indian land. But Sergeant Gwaltney of the Salt River Police knows this, and he'll keep his people away from us, hopefully. Hopefully the word got out. But if they stop and wonder, what are you people doing here, just refer them to me, and I'll tell them, go, Carl, I've got his number. You know, we'll call Sergeant Gwaltney, and hopefully they won't throw us in the Indian jail.
If they do, we'd have a great story to tell.
We'll have good fun with that right up. Okay, I think we're all ready to go.